Our Valley Santa Clarita. We create success for your business. This program is brought to you by Desert Drug Pharmacy. Fast, friendly, and personalized. Visit Desert Drug Pharmacy today.
Welcome to Our Valley Santa Clarita. I am your host, Nancy Angel.
Co-host.
I'm sorry, I am your co-host, Nancy Angel, and this is Bill Miranda.
I'm Bill Miranda, and welcome to Our Valley Santa Clarita. I'm here with my lovely and very talented and a little precocious co-host, Nancy Angel. Today, Nancy's going to test her interviewing skills. She's got a very challenging person that she's going to interview. That would be me.
Oh, man.
And we're going to talk about profiles in Latino courage, how everyday Latinos achieve success. You excited about that?
Ecstatic.
Do you have your interview skills ready?
Right here.
Okay. I do want to mention that we have Armed Forces Day coming up, and we want to salute all those members of the Armed Forces who are serving their country in great ways, large or small. Anybody who volunteers of their time, energy, and in some cases have to give of their lives deserves our salute. So to all those members of the Armed Forces, I salute you.
I salute you too.
Great. So let's take a break, let's get comfortable, and let's have an interview of Bill Miranda.
If the spreading of germs were this obvious, you'd wash your hands more. A message from the LA County Department of Public Health.
Living without glasses has been wonderful.
I've noticed right away, next couple of days, the sky seemed bluer.
I had the procedure because my husband came to Dr. Helm for cataract surgery, and he was really pleased with the results.
I was looking for somebody that had a reputation, somebody locally.
Through the whole procedure, he talked to me through it and told me exactly what was happening and what he was doing, and he just has excellent bedside manner.
If you're thinking about having laser vision correction, let me help you decide if it's right for you. We at Helm Vision Group believe in personal care and quality results. Come and see the difference.
For the best laser vision correction technology, Helm Vision Group on Turney Road in Valencia.
Every child need love.
Welcome back to Our Valley Santa Clarita. I am sitting here as an interviewee, and now the table have turned, my friend. Now it's time for me to ask the questions.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Do you remember the first time I interviewed you?
I do.
Where were we?
We were at Persia Lounge on Main Street in Newhall. Very good place, by the way.
Very good place, and that's where it all began between you and I.
That's where it all began.
That's where it all began.
And look at us now.
Exactly. We are working together. So I know pretty much a lot about you, but many people probably in the Santa Clarita Valley don't know how amazing and how inspirational and how important you are. And that's one of the reasons why you wrote this fabulous book, which is called Profiles in Latino Courage, correct?
Yes.
And I want the viewers to know a little bit more about you, you know, as a person, you know, where you came from, what inspired you to write the book. So the platform is all yours.
Okay. Well, I'm born and raised in New York City. I grew up just outside of Harlem in a very multicultural neighborhood. When I was very little, there were very few Latinos in the neighborhood. But as I grew up, there was a vast influx in the late 40s and early 50s of Latinos, especially Puerto Ricans, into New York. I should tell you that my heritage is Puerto Rican. My mother and my father were both born and raised in Puerto Rico and came to this country very young. Met and got married. If you want to know something most people don't know, is that my mother, when she got married, it was actually her second marriage, her marriage to my father. She was 26 years old. My father was 18.
Oh, wow.
So that's a wow right there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Gets better. My mother was divorced with kids. That's another wow, right? How about 5 kids? My mother was divorced with 5 kids. My father was 18 years old. Now figure this. Picture my father going to his mother and saying, Mama, I want to get married at 18 years old.
Did your dad tell you that story?
Yes, he did.
And how did it turn out?
Well, his mother said, no, you're crazy. I'm not signing. And in those days in New York, you had to sign because he was under 21. Parents had to sign, or grandparent. So he went to his grandmother and basically told his grandmother, look, I'm going to do this one way or another. I need your support. She loved him so much because she had actually raised him. And so she signed for him. And in fact, he got married in her house.
Oh, wow.
He and my mother got married in my grandmother's house in 1942.
And how long were they married?
They were married 59 years.
59 years.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't see that nowadays, if you ask me.
Well, I've been married 41 years.
Oh, wow. Who's
So
counting?
if the Lord gives me the time and gives Virginia the time, I think, pretty sure we'll be together if we get to 59 years.
Can you describe a certain hardship that you kind of went through as your career was developing and how you overcame it?
Well, there are lots of hardships in one's life when you get to be as old as I am. And one of the things I can tell you is I had several transitions in my life. Number one, I transitioned from that young ghetto kid to a kid that joined the military and became an officer and a gentleman. That was a tough transition in my life because the young ghetto kid had to be tough, had to be kind of obnoxious, had to be super confident, had to be ready to fight at the drop of a hat. An officer and a gentleman has to be an officer and lead men, but also has to be a gentleman.
So that was a difficult transition, kind
Very
of like
difficult.
how it all started with you.
Very difficult. So here was this ghetto kid trying to be a gentleman, and it wasn't easy.
It was not easy at all, but here you are right now.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the book and what inspired you to kind of profile and highlight people who are successful in their own right?
Well, I think what inspired me the most was my mother. My mother always had great inspirational sayings, phrases, actions.
Can you tell me one out at the top of your head right now? Go.
My mother taught me how to box.
Oh, well, that's
Okay.
something I don't know about you.
Yeah, my mother taught me how to box. We would stand in the living room, and she would say, come on, mijo, jab, step back, jab, step back. My mother, she's telling me to jab, step back. She's teaching me to jab and then step back to avoid the counter
She was
punch.
the disciplinarian of out of the two.
She was.
Oh,
She
wow.
was. Yeah. So, and my mother was an inspiration in many, many ways. But she inspired me for the book because what my mother used to say is there's always opportunity for you out there, okay? And querer es poder. Where there's a will, there's a way. So that was my mother to the T. Where there's a will, there's a way. Anytime we had a problem or an issue, and remember, there were 7 kids in the family, the 5 that she had with her previous husband, and she had 2, my sister and myself and my sister, with my father. So she had 7 kids in the house, and she had a husband that had 2, sometimes 3 jobs.
Wow.
So she had to rule kind of with an iron fist. When she taught me to box, that's because she already knew how to box.
Do you still know how to box?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can show me some skills on an upcoming show.
I could knock you out.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be fun?
We will see. We will see about that. So tell me, can you name 2 people maybe out of the book that kind of inspired you to kind of write the book?
Well, I'll go with my very first story in the book, which is the story of Patricia Lara Ladd. At the time she was married, and her name was Patricia Gracia, so you'll see it in the book as Patricia Gracia.
What a wonderful woman.
Yeah, she's a fantastic woman. She grew up in Peru. She grew up poor. She grew up working hard. Her mother worked out of the house. She was a seamstress, okay? And she also had a little merchandise store where she had tchotchkes and things like that, and she would sell them. And so Patricia would go, and when she was only 12, 13, 14 years old, she would be the person to deliver the goods to the customer and the person to collect the money from the customers.
Okay.
Well, in those days, everything was cash. There were no checks or credit cards. And so Patricia had to, at a very young age, be very mindful of the fact that she was carrying a lot of cash with her, and be very, very disciplined to make the deliveries on schedule, make the collections on schedule. So that was very, very important. Well, at one time she decided when she was 18 years old, 18, 19 years old, that she wanted to have a better life. There was a revolution going on in Peru. There was a lot of violence. The treatment of women was not anything stellar. And so she decided to come to America. Unfortunately, she had to come illegally. And she came through the coyote system, where she paid a coyote to get her, across the border. Everything would have been fine, except when she got to Tijuana, the Tijuana police sort of captured her and took away all her possessions.
But despite that, she kind of built herself up. She received a college education.
Well, that
she?
comes later. Okay, so now you got her in Tijuana with no possessions, right? So this is the crux of the story. She's in Tijuana with no possessions. She had money before, she had possessions before, she had a coyote before that was going to get her across the border. Now she's in Tijuana with no possessions. Most people would go home.
She didn't.
She didn't. She crossed the border at night, in the cold, no possessions, no food, no coat, got across the border. As she was crossing the border, she told me clearly, she saw the lights of Chula Vista, bright, and she said, God is sending me to those lights, and I am going to get to those lights, and I am going to make a new life for myself in America.
Oh man, that gave me chills.
Okay?
That gave me chills, not going to lie.
So she gets to America. She has no possessions, remember. But somehow she gets a job as a cashier in a supermarket.
That was such an inspirational story. I can't wait to hear more about it, Bill. But we have to go on a commercial break. But when we come back, we are going to continue to talk to Bill, and he is going to highlight more amazing people from his book.
A lot has changed since 1887, but in Santa Clarita, one thing has remained the same. For more than 125 years, the Saugus Cafe has served up fresh potatoes, homemade gravy, delicious hollandaise sauce, and the best chili in town. We're family owned and operated, and here you'll be treated like family too. Come in for dinner, where 3-course meals start under $11. While you're here, enjoy a cold beer or a classic cocktail from our bar. Come enjoy the nostalgia, great food, and the camaraderie. The Saugus Cafe. It only gets better with age.
It's no secret that Southern California has some of the worst air quality in the nation. Visit aqmd.gov to watch the State of the Air video and discover how the South Coast AQMD is cleaning the air you breathe and how you can help.
Welcome back to our Valley, Santa Clarita. Now, before the commercial break, we were talking to Bill Miranda, and he kind of left me in a cliffhanger. You were telling me about Patricia Lara Ladd, who is one of the 7 people that were highlighted in your book, which is called Profiles in Latino Courage. So you got to finish telling me the story because I was intrigued.
Yes. So Patricia gets to America. She comes illegally. She gets a job in a supermarket as a cashier. After that, she goes and works in a fast food place where she starts out at the bottom as cleaning the toilets, cleaning the floors, whatever needed to be done. She works her way up to cashier again because she was good with numbers. Then she goes from there, and one day she gets a job as a parking cashier in a parking lot at a fancy hotel.
Okay.
She does a great job parking as a cashier in a parking lot, and gets a job inside as heading up the maids in the hotel. She does real well at that, and then she gets a front desk job. She does real well at that, and then she gets a management job. With the management job, they pay for her education. They paid for her to go to UCLA. She goes to UCLA, and in the meantime, they also paid for her to get a green card, and they paid for her to get through the process for citizenship, so she's a legal citizen now. But the point is, she worked her way up from the top. Profiles in Latino Courage. This woman is super courageous. Not only did she succeed, get her degree, and work well for the hotel, and this is a 5-star hotel, okay? Not only did she do well there, but she ended up starting her own marketing business, public relations business, her business became a multi-million-dollar business. This, from the little girl in Peru who had the courage to come to this country and make her life what she wanted it to be.
Now let me ask you this. You highlight 7 people, in your book, correct?
Yes.
So you pretty much know these people very well. You know their life stories in and out, so you know them extremely well. We can say yes to that, right?
Yes.
What do those people have in common as far as you know the answer to that? What do they all have in common?
First of all, they had a passion.
Mm-hmm.
They had a passion that said, I want to be something. I want to do something with my life. I don't just want to be born, live, and die. I want to be born, live well, live exotically, live excitingly, do something worth remembering in my life. And they did that. All of them had the passion initially. But a lot of us have passion, but we don't take action.
Mm-hmm.
So passion without action is just passion.
Mm-hmm.
Passion with action is success.
Correct.
Now, when I say success is anything you want it to be. You define success. Don't let others define success for you, right? The nun that's in the convent feels very successful with what she's doing with her life, okay? The guy, the fisherman, who goes out and takes his little boat every day into the ocean and fishes, he's successful. He's happy with his life. The actress, the actor, the television co-host, whatever. You define your own success, and as long as you're happy with what you're doing, hallelujah. But if you're not happy, get that passion. Get that passion for what you really want to do in life, and then take action.
I definitely agree with you there because I feel that every single individual in this world is born unique. They're born with a specific purpose, a specific talent, and unless they get the courage to do something about it, unless they have the passion and the determination or the drive, if they don't do that, they're never going to fulfill their full potential. So it's amazing to read people who went above and beyond and defied all odds, and despite the obstacles that they were facing, they were able to be successful and inspire others as well.
Yes, and let me tell you a little more of the qualities that they have. Because passion is good, action is good. That leads to success. But on the road to success, lots of things happen. Lots of obstacles come in our way. And here's something they have that many others don't. Perseverance. perseverance. Everybody is good when things go well. What happens when things go awry? That's when you really have to step up to be successful, overcoming obstacles. So in the book, we talk about how these people overcame the obstacles in their lives. And we talk about how you, the reader, can overcome the obstacles in your life.
Absolutely. Is there any other person that you have in mind that you might want to share their story that they're in your book?
Well, I like the story, I like them all, of course, but I like the story of Julio Del Rio. Okay. Julio grew up in Mexico City. He was very well-educated, middle-class family. He was a swimming champion in Mexico. Very, very technical education. He got a bachelor's degree in a technical field, and he got a master's degree in a technical field. When he was in Mexico City, his sister got shot and killed. His sister was getting ready for her quinceañera.
Oh, wow.
Quinceañera is the 15th birthday, which is kind of like the Sweet 16 birthday in Mexico. We do it at age 15.
It's kind of like a wedding, if you ask me, because of the celebration and how grandiose it is, and the dress and the chambelanes. Yeah.
So the family was all excited. They were getting ready for the quinceañera, and there was just joy and love in the family as they were getting ready for this. And then one day, Julio's in the swimming pool, which is where he spent a lot of his time since he was a swimming champion. And someone comes running in, yelling and screaming for him. He runs out of the pool, dries himself quickly, gets dressed because they said his sister had been shot. Oh. He runs to the hospital, gets to the hospital, and his sister passes away. And he gets to see the family right after the death of his sister. The family that had been so joyful, such expectation, such a future for this wonderful person, this wonderful human being. Now all of a sudden, she's gone. And the family is left to recover the pieces. Not just the pieces of losing her, but the pieces that come with a tragedy in any family.
Absolutely.
And so Julio had to recover from that, have a normal life. He had to continue his education. He ended up coming to America, and he ended up building a life and a career for himself here with his family. And he founded Our Valley Santa Clarita.
Oh.
The magazine.
I did not know that. I'm just kidding. I did know that.
So how do you go from that type of tragedy, that type of environment? And by the way, I could tell you that his daughter was shot by the police.
Oh, wow.
It was an accidental shooting, but she was shot by the police.
Was she kind of like a bystander?
She was a bystander.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so how do you go from that kind of tragedy to making your life successful, to building a new life? And Julio never forgets his sister, never. Prays for her every day. Mm-hmm. But he's got a new life. He's very successful.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just get chills just kind of hearing about it, because it's people's stories and people's testimonies that kind of gives me the motivation and the satisfaction knowing that I'm doing something right. And, you know, despite the obstacles that I face on a day-to-day basis, you know, if this person could do it, I can do it. So there's nothing more enriching and more fulfilling than hearing stories like that and seeing how people overcame the obstacles, because everyone has a story. Everyone has something that they're going through. Everyone has a struggle that they're facing every single day, but it's how you come out of it that really makes you shine as a person.
Good
Don't
points.
you agree with that, Bill?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that.
I mean, so if people want to read this book and pick up this book, what do they have to do?
All they have to do is go to Amazon.com and in the search engine part, put Profiles in Latino Courage, and they'll find it, and they can get it on Amazon.com. It's also on Kindle, so you can get the Kindle version and get it on your Kindle.
All right, well, we'll be right back and after these important messages.
Hey, Mike, give me another one.
The cost of one more drink, $4.50. The cost of a DUI, severe fines and loss of freedom, causing innocent loss of life, unimaginable. The value of acting responsibly,
On second thought, why don't you call me a cab?
priceless. Drinking and driving are not worth the cost. Call a friend or taxi to get home safely.
Wow, Nancy, you really got a lot out of me this show.
Well, I mean, what can I say? I have that effect on people.
I especially like telling stories about my mother and about Patricia and about Julio and the people in my book. It is just really inspiring, and I like hearing your stories too.
Absolutely.
Next week, we're going to discuss business.
Business, my favorite subject in school. Just kidding.
We're going to discuss how to promote your business throughout the community and how to get more customers.
Absolutely.
Over here on Our Valley, Santa Clarita, where mi casa es
Su casa. Did I
There
get it
you
right this
go.
time?
You got it right. Bye-bye.
Our Valley, Santa Clarita. We create success for your business. This program is brought to you by Desert Drug Pharmacy. Fast, friendly, and personalized. Visit us today at Desert Drug Pharmacy.